of the new budget for the year 2020 introduced by the Trump White House over the last couple of days. I want to talk about it as a document, not because it will be the budget. Mr. Trump no longer has the power with the GOP Congress to make that happen. This budget he proposed tells us more about who he is and what the GOP has become, because the Democrats will make for compromises. However, those compromises will be a problem in themselves, and that's what I want to get at. But first, the simple things. When running for president, Mr. Trump said that he would never harm Medicare. He wanted the votes of the older people who depend on Medicare, and for their children it's just as important, because if the parents don't get help with Medicare, their medical expenses will be something they will impose on their children, because what choices would they have? So he promised, and now that he's in power, he ignores what he promised. The same people who are critical of Americans for not voting, for being alienated from, disgusted by their political system, those are the people who are responsible for the resignation of so many Americans. Why do you vote for a candidate believing that he or she will do what they say and promise? They have proven, unfortunately, in both parties, over and over again, that you cannot trust them. The basic two parties of the United States are as broken political instruments as the capitalist system is a broken economic instrument in relationship to what we need as a people. But the problem goes deeper than that. Mr. Trump is playing the usual GOP Republican game. Take care of the folks with the money. Take care of the people you've got to keep happy if you're going to stay as president, as the Republican Party, as a power party. First of all, you take care of the military so they don't brush you away. Secondly, you take care of the employer class. Mr. Trump and the GOP did that with the December 2017 tax cut, an extraordinary gift to the business community. And finally, as the mass of people you've suckered into voting for you realize that you're taking care of the big businesses, and you're taking care of the military, and you're taking care of the rich, and that overlaps with the big businesses and the military, and you're leaving them out in the cold, you distract them. You spend hours every day tweeting about imaginary caravans coming among immigrants. You tweet about religion, a newly discovered passion of Mr. Trump's, as genuine as everything else about the fellow. You get people excited about abortion, about flags, about you name it, to keep them distracted from the fact you have screwed them once again, having lied to them as a political hack of one of the two parties. But I want to go deeper than that too. Let's take a look at one feature of this budget, the defense expenditures. We were at a level of $700 billion. That is, the United States spends more on defense than the next 5 biggest countries spending on defense in the world combined. And that includes China, Russia, and so on. 700 billion, a fantastic amount. The military had asked for it to be raised to roughly 730. Mr. Trump's new budget throws 750 billion at them. That will lead the Democrats to fight real hard and bring it back down to, you guessed it, compromise around 730. The Republicans will crow about how they grew the military, thereby making the companies that depend on selling to the military happy. That plus their tax cut, wow, the government's helping them on both ends. And the mass of people will be told by the Democrats, we reduced the government's defense spending from the 750 he asked for to merely 730. The generals and admirals will be laughing on their way to the cocktail parties. The Democrats will say to their base, they did good things. The Republicans will say to theirs, they did good things. And this silly system hurting so many will continue. That's the bottom line about this. Don't be so angry that the Bush government, like the Trump government, cut spending on social programs. Of course, that's disgusting. Of course, it's not what the people need. But that's what governments have been doing for decades. Unfortunately, Democratic and Republican, the difference being between them that the Republicans are harsher and the Democrats are slower. We have a systemic problem in America, a system that doesn't work for 90% of the people. That's the issue. And this budget does absolutely nothing to change any of that. It will make greater inequality, not less. And if the Democrats under Mrs. Pelosi can slow the process down, good for them. But that's not getting at the basic problem. The problem of this budget is it pretends that the fundamental problems of our economy that are agitating our people as never before aren't there. And that tells you more about the political stalemate of Republicans versus Democrats than anything else you need to see. It is a disaster, this economic and political system. We are all on a train rushing down the tracks, pretending that there isn't that very solid brick wall crossing our path and very close to us, getting closer every minute. This is Richard Wolff on the new Trump budget.